Alright, with a problem like this, all you want to do is solve for x. It's a square root problem, square root equation. So solve it first, see if you can try to do it on your own, and then start the video up again. Alright, so by this time you have worked out the problem, you tried it on your own. Hopefully what you did also was you checked your work by plugging the number into the original. You always want to do that when you have a square root problem, because sometimes the solutions that you get, since you're squaring both sides, one might not work. So you always want to double check in a square root problem. So you simply do that. You start off by squaring both sides. You square both sides. When you square both sides, that will get rid of the radical, right? The square root squared cancels each other out. It just removes them. So you end up getting -4 minus x. And what's 8 squared? Yeah, that's right, it's 64. So then you just simply solve for x. Now to solve for x, you add 4 to each side. Right? The -4 plus 4 cancels out. So you're left with -x equals, and what's 64 plus 4? Right, it's 68. It's that easy. Now, some of you might have stopped here. You say that x is all by itself, right? It's -x is kind of alone. Well, it's not. It has a negative sign there. So what you have to do next is remove the negative sign. To remove the negative sign, what you're going to do is you're either going to divide both sides by -1, or you're going to multiply both sides by -1. Either which way, it's going to cancel out the negative sign. So I like multiplication over division. So I'm going to multiply both sides by -1. Yeah, I have a favorite operation. So you have -1 times the -x. That gives you a positive x, which is just x. And x equals -68. What you're going to do now is take this -68 and plug it into the original. Remember, in the original, the squares aren't here. So you just want to plug it in to see if it's true. So I have negative square root of -4 minus 6. I wonder if you guys made the same mistake. So you plug in a -68. Notice I put parentheses around the -68. That's to indicate the sign right here, which is negative. So when I have a negative times a negative like that, it makes it a plus, right? Because it's telling me to do the opposite of what it's telling me to do. So you have the square root of -4 plus 68. And what is that? Yeah, it's positive 64 underneath the radical. And what's the square root of 64? Right, it's just 8. Since this is the same as this, that means it is a solution. That means this work is correct. And you can always do that when you have a problem like this. And again, you would want to, because sometimes when you square it, it's not going to work. So you always want to plug it into the original. How many times you want to do that? Sometimes, few times. Always plug it into the original to check to see if your work's correct.